Good morning, everyone. How are you doing? Let me know if you can hear me. It is cold today. This morning, it is 43 degrees Fahrenheit. 43 degrees Fahrenheit. Where is the camera? Okay. Sorry, y'all got home late yesterday and it was a bit chilly and it was past midnight. So I'm up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and as you can see, my breath is warm, so you can see my breath in the air. And let's get started. Happy Friday, everyone. So today's Friday, and half of us are running on coffee, chaos, and sheer willpower, right? Cheers. And so we joke about it, but when we think about it, about how Fridays feel like a finish, right? How we finish like a final tie to the loose ends, but many of us still carry the weight of the week, right? We still get hooked up on the mishaps, the chaos, the confusion, the coulda, woulda, shouldas, and we bring that still to the end of the week. So how do we deal with this? Let's see. Well, first of all, this is what we have to learn about what it means to have emotional connection. You know what I mean? I'm going to be honest with y'all that sometimes we have to share with others that and realize, that how burnouts rob the joy, passion, and our health, our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, and leaving people surviving and not thriving. You know what I mean? I remember in the mental health industries, it was just so draining that I don't know if y'all guilty of this. I was for several years in the corporate world when I worked in the industries of social psychology. I would come home and just literally curl up in the fetal position because I was so drained on the car ride home or the commute home. I wouldn't have any way to debrief. I would listen to my music, but as soon as I got home, I just wanted to curl up and be in the fetal position and close the world out until later on. And then, the weekend festivities began. But as we get older, we don't have that ability, or we don't acknowledge and take the time to really realize that burnout is real, regardless of age. So, you know, if this is something that you're experiencing on a personal, professional note, drop a personal or, you know, story, or think of a personal story in your work or personal relationships and experiences of how you are able to shift everything and either have a situation with an experience with someone or an experience of just flat out hitting the wall and then rising again. So during my industry, during my time, I was just constantly burned out. I was the individual, the work person who got there early, stayed late, thought about the job, before and after, and even on the weekends. I just never unplugged because I was just so meticulous. And at that time, still living with the victim mentality in the workplace, I would never leave my work at the office. And so one of the times I remember hitting a wall, and I just remember waking up in a panic, if you will, sweating and crying, just like, did I do this? Did I do that? Oh my goodness, is that going to affect something? It's Friday. I'm not going to be able to be back at the office. Everybody closed up shop. Well, and then I had to really change my channel. I use that phrase a lot of times in my workplace, and realize that I'm going to rise from this. I'm not going to be resistant to it. I'm going to be resilient and rise. And I said, everything is going to be all right. I'm human, and that the mistakes happen as long as I'm cognizant of it. But ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, our mind can be our masters or our messengers. And so in order for me to have a fun weekend with my family, friends, and whatever I was doing, I had to have confidence that regardless, everything is working out. Everything will work out. And the mistakes or mishaps that I've made, as long as I address them upon arrival to the office that Monday, everything would be fine. So that's how I rose from the situation. That's how I was resilient, kind of breaking the fear mentality, breaking the burnout because I was so inundated, overwhelmed, overworked, underpaid that I was just like, you know what? Let me table it. Let me enjoy the weekend. I'll reconvene on Monday. It wasn't anything of urgent matter. Nobody's life was in jeopardy. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was what have you. So then I decided to then take the initiative to say, okay, I'm going to rise from it. So, in that regard, what was the lesson that we took from it? So, the lesson was to engage your heart and mind and realign with it. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ability to engage with people and make sure with your own personal mind and alignment that the victim mentality, the abuse, the negativity, the toxicity of the people pleasing mentality doesn't take over. So how do we do this? There's 3 steps that I put into place on where I am able to realign, okay, if you will. And what the 3 silent traps of burnout that shows you that you're ignoring your needs and chasing approval as well as silencing your own voice is doubting yourself. That's number 1. We have this fear mentality that we are not doing what we need to do. We are not doing what we're supposed to do. We are not correct. We are not in the proper mindset of making that initiative that we are capable and we are hired and brought to this situation for a reason. So self-doubt. Number 2 is not asking for clarity, not asking questions, fear of being vulnerable. And when we do that, we are silencing our voice because we are conveying the message to the other entities that we're okay, we know what we're talking about. And then if we have mistakes, then, you know, it's mistakes and we don't take accountability. And finally, the third thing is that we are cognizant of our mindset going into things. Are we competent? Are we confident? Are we able to have assurance that we know what we're talking about and we're prepared? I just realized that I'm looking on the cam that this is spooling and I'm not sure if we are live. If you are there, comment and let me know if you can still hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me right now, because I'm looking on the playback and it looks like that I am delayed and I don't want to cause delay. Are you guys there? Give me a thumbs up, someone, because I really don't want to cause any disruption. So if we missed it, we were talking about the setbacks of the lesson of being that in 3 silent stages of burnout, ignoring your needs, chasing approval, and silencing our voices. So number 1, we have to be mindful that we are prepared for a situation. Avoid self-doubt. Number 2, we have to be cognizant that if we are unsure of something about, we don't fear vulnerability, we ask questions. And finally, number 3, that we are open to critiques and reviews and setbacks. Thank you so much, Shaheen. Hello, thank you. If you can hear me, let me know. I know it was a hiccup and a delay. So when we align the heart and mind, we also want to be mindful of how the significance of this is truly important on, you know, not stressing. If y'all know, this is the cliche, but this is the number one factor. I'm a living testimony because I almost lost my life to it. Stress is the silent killer. And it's all about managing your stress, giving a label to your stress, and making sure that you know where the root cause is. Because if we suppress it, then we are bottling it up and causing toxicity, which will then lead us, unfortunately, pardon the morbidness, but to the hospital or 6 feet under. Stress is the silent killer, and if we constantly go through life with tunnel vision and blinders on, it will, just like a boiling pot, arise unexpectedly. And it's a call to realign with your purpose. You know what I mean? The lesson is to align your mind, body, and soul and heart to make sure that you are doing what you love and not what somebody else called you to do. You know what I mean? So when we look at the energy, we want to kind of make sure that we engage with people, that we are confident, self-confidence, have the ability and vulnerability to ask questions, not as a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength, as well as making sure that you are doing your due diligence, you know. And how do we do that? We talked about the tier system: self-doubt, eliminate self-doubt, asking questions, and then being prepared. And then when we look at all of those components, you know, the components of the emotional attributions, of the emotional connection of what's going on with us internally, when it comes to burnout, when it comes to stress, when it comes to carrying the weight for the whole week until Friday, we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful of the lesson that is being conveyed, the lesson of our body. Are we listening to our bodies? Are we listening to our tone of voice, our body language, our aches and pains, our need for nutrition or lack thereof? These are all signs that are correlated with stress. And as I mentioned, stress is the silent killer. If we don't address it, it will take us out some way, shape, or form. So when you are looking at today, at Friday, when we look at from burnout to breakthrough and reclaiming your Friday fire, igniting that flame, saying, you know, it's the end of the week. I had a successful 5-day work week, and now I'm able to check those boxes, celebrate my wins, and be with family and friends. So when we think about this, I want to kind of have you have a takeaway from this. The takeaway is so significant because it's the impactful and influential shift, guys. It's the kind of ability to kind of look at yourself, my friend. It's the ability to kind of look at your life, reframe it, and look at as the burnout as into a breakthrough. You know, being cognizant of what is available to you so that you have the ability to move forward. It's really, really impactful to make that connection and to make that transition, because when you go from burnout to breakthrough, in that moment, you have the opportunity, you have the chance, you know what I mean, to reset, reboot, recharge, and reclaim those abilities, those capabilities, and also, guys, have and take note to build those boundaries, if you will, which will then put you in alignment to allow you to reignite your passion. Because when we go from burnout to breakthrough, we have clarity. We have the ability to have a clearer picture of what we're going through, what we're aiming to achieve. Does that make sense? So on this Friday, this fabulous Friday. It is October 3rd. Yes, October 3rd. Make sure you celebrate your wins. Make sure you celebrate yourself. Make sure you say, hey, I made it through the week. I'm excited and I'm going to be enlightened and ignited to share these moments. And one thing I want you to keep in mind, excuse me. One thing I want you to keep in mind is that when Fridays comes about, regardless if you work a Tuesday through Saturday, still Friday. I I don't want your Fridays. How should I say this? Don't let your Fridays just be a sigh of relief, right? Don't let them be, oh my goodness, I made it through the week. I want you to make it to the elevation, the climax, to make it your transitional period going from making it your breakthrough, pardon me, not making it your breakthrough, making it the launch pad, if you will. And let me collect my thoughts. So, in other words, kind of in this regard, don't let your Fridays be a sign of relief, right? Allow them to make it, if you will, make it your launch pad to allow you to break free. And if you're ready to stop, right? If you're ready to stop and take a moment, I want you to stop running on fumes and start living on fire. Okay, so what does that mean? I want you to take the initiative to Friday not being a sign of relief, but an ability to make it your launch pad, to leap forward, to leap and celebrate your wins. Because a lot of us don't. A lot of us don't celebrate. We just go and go and go and go and go. And one day we'll eventually hit the finish line. And what do you have to show for it? I'm not talking about accolades and credentials, but I'm talking about embracing the moment and celebrating yourself. And so, with that being said, I want you to really take this moment and I want you to take the initiative, if you will, to relate to the Fridays that it's a closing of another week and another chapter. Gain momentum and the ability to have that emotional connection to the real raw truth and take the initiative to go from burnout to breakthrough. And then what we want to do is we want to then tie it back of the influence and impact we had upon others, all we've connected throughout the week, and then engage and realign and say, you know what? This Friday is not a relief. This Friday is a launch pad to reignite that flame and move forward. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you every single day. You've chosen to press play, plan life according to you, to sit here with me every morning on the daily drop, the daily dose, weekdays, Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I appreciate you in the U.S. and all over the globe. I'm grateful for you. So if you want to take the initiative and you want to learn on a daily basis how to enhance your quality of life, move the needle forward, and make great impact and influence globally, then I encourage you and I invite you to connect and schedule a booking call with me, book a coaching call with me. And let's have the discussion, if you will, on how you can create that breakthrough from burnout. And if you are interested in a self-starter, enroll in the online course. It's Resilient and Rising, and it talks about all of those areas and aspects. And if you act now, there's only a few spots left, but go to Resilient and Rising and use code RISE99 so you could get a discount with the coupon code RISE99 with, you know, $150 discount. Not too shabby, huh? And I'm not sure, and the playback, but you can hit me up. And then finally, my book is available on Amazon. It's A Victim to Victorious, Andrea Mason. However, in order to search it, you have to go to Amazon, go to books, then type Victim to Victorious, Andrea Mason, and you'll find it there. Plus, all the information is found in the bio on my social media handles, as well as this link right here, andreamasons.com. And I want you to keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, as we close on this fabulous, fun-filled Friday, because let's be honest, coffee can only take us so far, right? Coffee, tea, whatever you have in the morning can only take us so far. So allow your mind, body, spirit, and soul launch you into leadership. And I welcome your connection. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. My name has been Andrea Mason, your first choice, your global voice, alumna of Les Brown, legacy and lifestyle consultant, as well as your personal accountability coach and global ambassador. I welcome your connection, and I'll see you real soon. Check me out. I will be back on Monday, which is October 6th, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, same place, and all the playbacks can be housed at my YouTube channel, Andrea Mason from Victim to Victorious, where I have over 1,300 plus videos. Check it out. There's something for everyone and for someone, and someone's listening, someone's watching. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe, be well. Ciao, and I'll see you when I see you. Be well. Thank you.